Welcome to the Comedians of Wrestling podcast, the podcast where comedians dissect wrestling to an unhealthy degree. I am your host, the host with the most viral stand-up about professional wrestling, Dan Black, a.k.a. Dunsky Blackamora.
Guys, let's put this in perspective. These are huge men.
A.k.a. the modern day goof and spoof, Haraja.
Someone you idolize. Who gives a shit?
I have been here for 12 years.
Coming at you like Cleopatra, baby, gabba, gabba, wee.
Gabba, gabba,
yeah,
wee,
oh.
gabba, 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 gabba,
This
gabba,
girl, she's mine. Damn.
Is hot garbage.
She's fine. What up, jabroniacs? We are back in action for your satisfaction with all of our spicy, muy caliente, chef's kiss, pinkies up when you drink your soup, wrestling reactions. Hey, everybody, I'm back in studio for the bonus episode. Listeners, you know we're back in studio. I am here. Let's just get right into introducing him. I'm here with, you missed him, you love him, the nasty one, kicking it old school, just me and him, baby. Nasty Newman, Alex Newman, hugging. What is up?
How about it, Dan?
How about
I'm tired.
it, bro?
I'm tired.
You
We
tired
just
of this
endured.
shit?
We endured a fucking whatever fest in Extreme Rules.
Yes.
It's hard.
We just watched Extreme Rules. We're recording directly after. We don't have the smooth operator, Phil Passapani, today. He'll be back next week. As we said, these episodes are now coming out on Mondays. So our main episodes come out on Monday. Our bonus episodes, which we'll have an announcement about soon, coming out still on Fridays as of now. So that's exciting. More announcements to come. Plus, also, you know, there's always the announcement that this podcast we are on patreon.com/comedians of wrestling. This podcast is grassroots. We do this shit ourselves, so go support us over there at patreon.com/comedians of wrestling. Adjusting my camera because it's messed up. Love it. But yeah, so I did a little bit of the modified intro, which is okay because I'm getting back into the swing here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Getting my intro back, getting my sea legs back. But yes, boy, oh boy, this pay-per-view drained the fuck out of us. But it's funny because, so yeah, go support us, patreon.com/comedians of wrestling. You get access to our bonus episodes, and you get to watch the Kowzoom Thunderdome. We watch pay-per-views, which, by the way, announcement of the Kowzoom Thunderdome as it pertains to AEW. This means we all get on Zoom together. We just watched Extreme Rules, and it was extremely boring, but a great time because we hung out with a bunch of the patrons, which was a great time. We will do this for all the major AEW pay-per-view shows, okay? And we were talking about going into next year, that'll be their Saturday shows, which are not even pay-per-view shows, but those will be like on TBS, but they're like pay-per-view style shows, you know what I mean? So AEW will get the rub, as they say, in the Thunderdome. And that's really cool because it's completely earned, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I would have said that that's definitely what we were going to do. Couple of Miros ago, you know what I mean?
About two Miros ago now.
2 Miros ago, which is really funny because he is a calendar guy. He's measured in days,
Right.
I think a Miro's a day, though, right?
It's a 1 day, yeah.
Yeah, so a couple
There's
of
365 Miros in a year.
days. Yeah, 365 Miros.
14 Miros in a pay period.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so yeah, so go support this podcast. And also, like I said, we took a little bit of time off, even though I was still putting out some episodes I was recording while I was on vacation, lower quality and stuff. Thank you to everybody who's understanding of that, knows that, like, we got to take some breaks here, too. We do this ourselves. We push ourselves. We do live shows also, which we're going to have a live show November 20th in New York City, which I will put the cow title on the line in New York City. More details of that coming up, but think about that, 11/20. Saturday, 11/20. More details about that coming up. That's Survivor Series weekend in New York City. So we do a lot. I appreciate you guys. Toss us a couple bucks each month. Don't, and thank you. Now, Newman, let's just get right into all the wrestling excitement. I mean,
Yeah.
now I spoke in depth about AEW Grand Slam because I was there on the bonus episode. But that being said, we haven't heard your thoughts on it. So if that creeps in, let's talk about it. But I do want to start at Extreme Rules because it's so fresh on our minds. And it's funny because it's like I haven't been watching WB as closely. Like, I know you haven't,
No.
And in general, people aren't, But it's funny because when you watch it, you remember why it's so great for podcasting is because, it sucks. And so, right?
It's awful.
It's like WB is not, WB has a lot of great talent. The production value is great.
Right.
When they nail it in a way that nobody else can. Vince McMahon is an artistic and production genius in so many different ways, But WWE gets so much shit so wrong, and that it's fun to talk about sometimes. And it's so funny with AEW going right. You're kind of like, yeah, it kicked ass, it rolled. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Like I always say, when shit's good, it's less fun to talk about. We all kind of know that. But in wrestling, it's also like what are you poking fun at? You're poking fun at like a scripted wrestling match, and we got another one the next week, so it's kind of like a little bit harmless,
Right.
But and that's kind of the fun of it. But with AEW, it shines such a light on how bad WWE is. Like it is like the black light of in the hotel room that is WWE. You know what I mean?
The cum stains on full display. The mustard stains on full display.
And let's just talk about ultimately just overall, if you think about this pay-per-view Extreme Rules, it had no title changes and no meaningful wins for anybody.
No meaningful anything.
Meant nothing. It was an actual waste of time for the smarky wrestling fan. It was a great time for kids who were there watching. Let's just clarify, even though this is pointless. Let's just say it was for people who are wanted to kill some hours on Sunday and watch some wrestling. Then it was fine, yes. But for us, the hardcore wrestling fan that treat this like it matters, you know what I mean? Like we care a lot of it, we're vested in it. A completely meaningless show, meaningless. Beyond meaningless.
Bereft of any kind of storyline that anyone gives a shit about.
It didn't
just the most paper thin premises for fighting, fake fighting. It just nothing to hold on to, nothing to pay attention to. Yeah, and I think it's funny. You go back, the matches were good. The wrestling was solid.
Right.
But there was no reason for anybody to give a shit about it.
No one came out looking no one came out in any kind of a different state, and no one came out looking better, only worse on this pay-per-view. Like, let's just jump right to it. Roman Finn. But they both look terrible in this match. Like, the way this was booked, you know from looking at this on paper, like, this is not a good way is not good for either of these guys, really. So what happened is laughably bad. Is like, they, Vince McMahon, let's just say it. He's just not good with these supernatural characters, It's just, he's just straight up not good. I mean, the exception is Undertaker. But I would argue the supernatural shit with Taker was never why people liked him, really. Like, they like the gimmick, but like, if you think about the stuff that he did, I was never, I guess when I was a kid, I loved it, all the Earn stuff. But like during the Attitude Era, when he was like crucifying people, I was always like, he always felt a little jabron to me during that zone. But whatever, irrelevant. Taker's more, all right, let's just say Taker's the like exception. But if you look at Alistair and Bray, and you're looking at what they're doing with Finn here, these things are like, they're very botched,
Yeah, and it's almost as if I think maybe most of the Undertaker was after the initial conception. After the initial conception, it was probably a lot of Mark Calloway's input, and because he's 7 foot tall, Vince
can't teach that,
and you cannot teach it.
Right, it's not a teachable thing.
No, it's inherent.
I'll be honest, I taught a guy to be 7 foot one time.
How tall was he before?
4'6".
Really?
Yes, I taught him.
A 3.4 foot gain through pedagogy.
Yeah. So what I taught him to do, I'll tell you now. I'll just reveal my secret here.
Okay.
You think it's what's it, a 3.6 gain?
3.4 feet.
Right. No. Isn't it 12 inches in a foot?
Last time I checked.
Yeah, you're saying it's 3.4, but at 6, so that would make it 10, right?
No, you said that they were 4 foot. What?
He's 4'6".
4'6".
So it would be, so if we add 6, that would get us to 5 feet, right?
Right.
And then 2 more feet. So it's 2'6" added.
Okay. I'm not math.
All right. Anyway, I'm so tired also. We're keeping that in.
Okay.
But here's the deal, folks.
So he taught him just to be.
I'm saying what I did was I said, stand on your dog. That was my trick.
Oh, okay.
So, it wasn't, I'll be honest. Does that count as teaching that? Yeah, I taught him that.
I mean, it kind of sounds like you taught him to stand on his dog.
Yeah. Anyway, we're having fun, right?
Yeah.
So this pay-per-view Extreme Rules made us not funny.
I'm going to sue. I'm hereby announcing I'm going to sue WWE for taking away my livelihood.
By the way, everybody, we're kicking it. We're going to be doing a bunch of me and Newman episodes. So it'll be fun on these main apps. So get back to the old UCB gang,
days.
the old gang. So that'll be fun. Maybe we'll get a Nosh on an episode for fun.
Just get a Nosh to be like right over here watching hockey.
Yeah.
Not paying attention to anything but the game.
So the finish of this match is hold on a second.
I mean, I'll explain it while you
Hold
look
on.
at your text.
Yeah, sorry. I was getting a text. But okay, so the finish of this match essentially is that Finn is all right. Here's how nonsensical it is.
Okay.
I mean, let's just start from the top. Finn is the demon. Okay, he comes out. He looks like absolute idiot. I'm sorry.
Right. Complete moron.
He looks stupid. He's wearing the helmet that when I was hanging out with my buddy Schnepper, his kid was wearing that exact helmet to like on his Razor scooter. It had like the spike, but his were like rubber spikes, and these were probably also rubber spikes, right?
I mean, and then he comes out and he's like doing this like weird.
Yeah, and like it's like I got douche chills. He's doing like he was doing the what the fuck, like what do you call that? Like, oh, I'm a butterfly. Like I am a butterfly. Whatever the fuck. Like he's like a beautiful swan. He's doing Swan Lake. Okay.
Yeah.
And he looks like a fucking idiot. And and his outfit, he's wearing like a red skirt that looked really stupid on him. It like, and it's like with Finn, it's like just paint his face and have him walk out looking like the jacked hot guy that he is,
Right.
But okay, he's got this demon character. The demon never, like the Rasta thing was never cool in NXT. It hasn't evolved at all. He looks terrible. It looks bad. The paint looks cool. And I argued I don't like the tassels either. I just don't think they fit Finn. Fit Finley.
I don't.
Hey,
folks.
I just hit you. I just shillelagh'd you with that joke.
I mean, would he? I said this in the Thunderdome, but would he lacks what?
In the what?
The Thunderdome. He lacks what Malachi Black has.
Oh my God!
In spades.
Get off his dick already,
which is a vision for this like character, this alter ego, and he sharpens that vision with like actual research into like occult things, and
it's a really authentic thing for Malachi,
right.
Like for Tommy End, like for right. It's all like that is something you could tell. It's part of his interest. It's
Finn Balor.
Look at the tattoos on his body.
Right,
you can't fake that. Like that's
look at the fucking tattoos on Finn Balor's body. He has like a fucking shitty dinosaur.
Yeah,
he's like super kawaii, like weeb nerd boy, and then we're supposed to accept that he has this supernatural like demon thing. It's just, even in the context of professional wrestling where insane things are permitted, it's too much. It's too much or not enough.
It stops right there and it picks up right here. Yeah, it's so uncomfortable for Finn. Okay, so that being said, he comes out as the demon. If you like it, you like it. Okay, I don't think the crowd really likes it, to be honest.
No,
I think like in NXT it was over. In the big arena, it looked really not good. He's not Bray or not Alistair. Those guys have the look.
they have a presence,
Right?
Yeah.
Presence. So okay. Because he's supposed to be this demon, but he's standing next to Roman, and he looks like a little boy,
Right.
It looks like Peter Pan. I said he looks like Peter Pan standing in front of juiced up Captain Hook.
He looks like Juggalo Peter Pan.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, Finn is the demon the whole time. And the match is great. Like, these guys were beating the shit out of each other. These guys are two great wrestlers. The match was really good.
Right.
Roman, in the middle of the match, puts on a mask. That's a whole other topic. Let's get into that after we talk about the finish. Because I'm curious how you feel about that. So, he's the demon. He's wrestling. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, they're all laying down, and the demon music hits again. They're like, cha cha cha, and he starts pulsating on the ground. And like, even that,
he starts doing that breakdancing move where you like,
yeah, he's doing the pop and
do the heartbeat. Yeah.
You're like,
oh.
yeah.
Fucking Herbie Hancock starts playing, and he's popping and locking his way over to the fucking
he's doing that,
tribal chief.
And then I'm still having douche chills for Finn.
Right.
Okay. And he's doing that, and then all of a sudden he gets up and he's like, essentially what it is that he's completely back. The demon has resurrected itself.
Right.
But
through the power of hip hop.
Like it's like then his music's playing and the red lights are going and the smoke's pumping. And the problem is it's like it's not like when, let's say, I don't know, which you can watch on our YouTube page right now. Go to subscribe to Comedians Wrestling YouTube page. You can watch the match at Cow SummerSlam-tacular where Tulo was wrestling as Tulo. He left and he came back as fake Seth Rollins.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he now had the curb stomp in his arsenal. You know what I'm saying? If this was like he's the demon, but now he's just still the demon more, right? He's like, I'm now the demon again. So it's a little bit like, it's not, oh, okay. So the demon's power is that he can now put his music back on. He can do his entrance again. Whatever. I'll even get past that. But like, oh my God, shit. Maybe he's going to, so he starts beating the shit out of Roman. And he rolls Roman in the ring from the outside, and he's going to hit him with the coup de grace. And then right as he's going to beat him, the smoke's going, the red lights are going. The top rope snaps. He falls down and hurts his leg. And immediately the lights come up, the smoke stops. Like, it's instant. It's not just like, because that's another thing. Like, if you want to sell that if you want to sell like, oh shit, I guess I'm going to argue against myself there. It should be instant because it's like he snapped out of demon mode because he got hurt. But that makes the demon character really weak and stupid, right?
Right.
Like, it's kind of like...
It's a Looney Tunes ending.
Right. It's like he's in like, he's like sleepwalking and you could just snap him out of it and then all of a sudden he's very beatable.
Yeah,
right?
and he's like putting like fucking... a box of cookies in the dishwasher in the kitchen. He's like, And
if this is supposed to protect the demon somehow, it doesn't. Because he started the match as the demon. So he didn't go back to being Finn. So it's still the demon losing, but losing in a way that is so fucking weak. You know what I mean? Like there's actually the booking is so bad. And so Finn looks really stupid. He's like, I'm the demon. I was like praying that the rope breaking was just an actual accident because then it's like fine, but I knew it wasn't because it had all the hints of a cue. You know what I mean? Because everything was so seamless.
But also, it's like
yeah.
They're never gonna like, or maybe they will, but it's like the stupidest thing to bury, like how it happened. Like, did somebody loosen it? Did Paul Heyman do it? Like, the fact that like that wasn't just also revealed tonight, and that they feel the need to like probably hold that till like SmackDown is so moronic. Like who the fuck? Like we're gonna do something that nobody gives a shit about, and then we're gonna have a weird ending, and we're not gonna explain it because we're gonna like save that twist. I'm assuming for like another episode.
Yeah. So it says here, great. I'm reading like one recap here. It's like great match with an absolutely ridiculous finish, right?
Right.
And so it's like,
I mean, I would say acceptable match.
yeah. Okay. So, but then it also makes Roman look like this idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's like Roman wins, but the way Roman wins is
An act of God.
Yeah, it's like he got like so lucky,
Right.
and it's like, but even just from the shoot element of it, it's like, wow, they were really trying to protect both of them, and you can't do that. Like WWE, like you know what I mean? You can't protect both of them. The only way to really like, man, like the Daniel Bryan Kenny Omega match, they went to time there. They have that. That's a tool in their arsenal. They don't have that in WWE. You know what I mean? Like they didn't set themselves up for this, so you can't go to time. So it's like this is like their equivalent of going to time. It's like, oh, the demon would have won, but because the rope snapped, an actual demon, like still lost. And it's like, well, Roman, they'll protect him at all costs, even against a character who's completely undefeated. And this is how they do it. And then everybody looks stupid. It's just awful.
It's defies explanation.
It's an insult to like. It's just kind of like it's. I don't know. Insult. It's just like it's not. Who is that for?
But you contrast it because you contrast it with, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, right? And that as like an exhibition of professional wrestling as the art form, not as the carny thing. And then you weigh it against this, which is like full carny, full like spectacle for no reason. And this is the bigger company.
Right. So it was it just sucked. And it was also like, all right, so that's that finish, right? And then Bianca, Becky go at it. And that finish is Sasha running. They try to protect both of them there too, you know? So you're like, oh, what am I watching? You know?
Right.
Like AEW is pretty sparse with this shit. Like they had the balls to at the Grand Slam let Britt Baker tap out Ruby Soho in her first match, right?
Right.
Maybe it was her first match because she won the like number one contendership, right?
But yeah,
you're like, hey, all right, you know, this way it establishes like, yo, when it's a DQ, when it's a count out, when it's that, it's a bigger deal. You know what I mean? It's like not something that's overused. And WWE is just such a schmoz, and you know, and it's like not to mention Brock, Roman's already announced for Crown Jewel, so it's like we know, right? Like. We know Roman's gonna win, so it's like who really cares, you know? We're all watching this. Who cares? The first match of the night, 6-man tag or whatever. Yeah, 3-on-3. All right, 6-man tag. New Day versus Hodgepodge team. It's fine. That was like Big E got a big pin on Bobby Lashley, so that was cool. But I don't know what that match was. Had AJ Styles in it. You're like that's what AJ Styles does now. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think you said it too. Where
Styles, you know?
You said it where like I think you said it. The Bobby Lashley versus Big E, what is now like a fallout of this match should have just been Raw. That should have just been the match on the pay-per-view.
Well, so that's opening up Raw that I was trying to think is like, do you think there's any chance that's Vince's response to Kenny Daniel Bryan opening up
No,
Dynamite?
But maybe, but here's the thing, like nobody that was excited in that arena at home to watch Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson and Kenny Omega are like, ooh, Big E versus Bobby Lashley, though? I'm tuning into Raw this week. Like fucking nobody.
Yeah. This was on the... All right, wait. This is beautiful. Somebody just sent me this tweet.
Okay.
And the tweet is I don't know who this is, but it's got the Eddie Kingston laying on top of Moxley botch in AEW, and it's got the rope breaking in WWE. Okay, what's the difference with these two moments? Mental and physical error. One was a mental error, and one is a physical error, which I always talk about with my coach. Coach Lesak, my baseball coach, would say, right?
No, but are they both mental errors?
No, a mental error is like you thought this through and you were off your game, right? So like a mental error is in baseball if you are in the wrong spot and the ball gets hit to the spot you were supposed to be. You weren't thinking you weren't thinking about your positioning. Your head was out of the game.
Right.
A physical error is when you're in the right spot and the ball takes a bad hop and goes over your shoulder into the outfield, and it's like, hey, listen, that sucks, but you can't beat yourself up. You were in the right place. You were playing it correctly. It happens. You know what I mean? Sometimes your hand-eye coordination slips or whatever, or something like that. You know?
Right.
So,
but the turnbuckle breaking wasn't.
The turnbuckle break is a mental error. It's like that's a booking error. You're like, hey, we thought this through and thought this would be a great idea. Pyrotechnics not firing off is a bad hop. That's a mental error.
No, they're both
a physical
mental errors.
Error.
Oh.
That's a physical error. That's just like something went wrong,
I got
but
you.
the
I got
idea
you.
was great.
I got
the
you.
writing of that was amazing, which is why I
you.
gave AEW, I was like, yes, they fucked up. Let's blah, blah, blah.
I got it.
And we'll talk about it forever. But you're telling me the writing of Eddie Kingston and Moxley, who are now a tag team since that point, since that match, the match that's on your T-shirt, right?
That's right.
Since that match, they've been a tag team. Eddie Kingston, he came on late on him, and we were supposed to see a whole fireworks display. That just didn't go off.
By the way,
it's irrelevant that the fireworks didn't go off. If you're so mad about that, you're getting caught up in physical errors, which is like, who gives a shit about physical errors? In theater, that shit happens all the fucking time, as long as no one gets hurt, whatever. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Mental errors is like when you book the demon to snap out of it from a fake rope snap just because you need a way for him to look strong, but also you need Roman to win for a match that's already booked that he has.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. By the way,
yeah.
I wore this shirt. I went to Kettle Glazed Donuts today here in LA on Franklin.
You went to
Franklin.
where?
Kettle Glazed Donuts.
Oh, good for you.
It was good for me.
Yeah.
And the woman who runs the shop is a Mark.
Oh,
and
really?
And recognized my shirt. Yeah.
Really?
So everybody, Mark friendly donuts in LA, Kettle Glazed.
Yeah.
On Franklin Ave in Hollywood. Go there on the
That
weekends.
place is very good.
And get the blueberry lemon fritter.
I've had it. It's very good.
My rec.
I love it. Oh man, it's so funny. Balor needs to get to AEW ASAP. That's not even necessarily true, but whatever.
I don't think that Vince is putting a gun to Finn Balor's head and telling him to undulate like a freak. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think Finn thinks this is a cool idea for some reason.
He loves it.
Yeah. Anyway, I've always thought the Demon stunk. Finn Balor's never been one of my guys. Even when he was in NXT, I didn't buy his shirt. And it is what it is. But I like Finn, and I'm excited that they're like, he feels like a guy who deserves. He was the first Universal Champion. It seemed to mean nothing. You know what I mean?
But it's sort of like, it's very typical of WWE to not do the obvious thing. Like he is because he is smaller, he is the perfect person, and he did it a little bit to go against these giant guys in a David and Goliath type of situation.
Are you saying he's a perfect person? I would argue.
I would say that he's not. Yes, he's not. We are not perfect people, you know.
Right.
But it's yeah.
Hoobastank pics. I mean, honestly, I take full responsibility.
Now I'm crawling. I'm crawling in the dark, trying to find what I was talking
you're looking
about.
for answers. I know. I've seen that about you. People have been saying that about you.
Yeah, I'm always seeking answers.
Oh man. that was a rough pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really. I mean, I'll say these are the random things I have to take away from this pay-per-view. Sasha Banks came out and just looked like an absolute
Bombshell.
just a smoker. I mean,
Kaboom.
What an absolute beautiful, gorgeous professional wrestler. Like just the highest level of drip, the highest level of fucking glow, like whatever the fuck you want to say. Like she's like the female equivalent of like what I would see when I saw Warrior as a kid. You know,
right.
When I would see Warrior, like she's so. I mean, look, she's so fucking hot. Also, I mean, we'll just say that. That just is. Listen, I'm very attracted to her. It is what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's almost irrelevant. It's just the fact that her look is never off. Like overall, she always looks amazing. She looks like a 20 out of 10 every time she's on a camera. It's crazy, you know?
Right. Overall, it is worth saying that like this era, like the modern era of wrestling, is by a wide margin the hottest like era in wrestling. Like you go back 20 years, you go back 30 years, it's not good.
Who's the ugliest wrestler of that era? Okay,
you don't want me to say it. George
the Animal Steel. You don't like
no.
You don't like a man with a blue tongue?
I have an opinion, but it's a misogynist one, so I'm not going to say it.
Okay. I don't like a man with. I'll be honest. I don't prefer a man with a blue tongue. Okay. I'll say this right now. I thought the gobbledygooker
like giraffes.
Honestly, looks
giraffes
like not a good kisser.
Giraffes only. Okay, with blue tongues.
Hey.
Who gives a shit?
Yo. So, Sasha just is like she is like a fucking mythical beast or something. You know, she's just has an aura around her. And I say she's an almost good talent, and I get a lot of shit for it sometimes. I got shit in the Thunderdome.
No, I agree with you that
she's like, I just feel like she's never. I feel like the legit boss thing is fully locked in, but it's more vibe and visual than like on the mic. When she touches the mic, you're like, that is not a legitimate boss. You know what I mean? That's more of like a manager. That might be like you know what I mean? Like a supervisor, maybe like a low level supervisor.
Key holder.
I mean? Absolutely. Yeah. I'm getting like maybe like, you know, I don't know, like a senior associate vibe, you know what I mean, on the mic.
Yeah.
But then her look, she's the legit CEO. You know what I mean?
She's Jeff Bezos.
Absolutely. She's Bezos, you know? And I don't just mean look like her looks. I mean her like gear, her makeup, all of it. The swag, like the fucking
X Factor.
The X Factor, the music, just the way she moves, you know what I mean?
Right.
She's just something, you know?
Yeah. Legit.
She's legit.
But the mic is.
I mean, I don't know, Charlotte on this pay-per-view, that was like, I mean, Alexa Bliss had like a tablet in her mouth for no reason, right?
Yeah, it had like an Alka-Seltzer. I guess they were trying to do something spooky with like foam or something, and it just wouldn't melt.
Yeah, she was trying to have it like a little seizure, and that didn't go her way. You know, I don't know. Now, you know, I said this on the other pod, on the bonus pod. I'll talk about it again, but I just want to talk about like, you know, there's a lot of. I feel like if I'll talk to someone like Arlen, who's like a businessman, and I start talking about AEW being a problem for WWE, they're all like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, WWE's so huge and blah, 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 and this and that. But, like, I guess I am like a little bit. I like to believe that we live in a world, you know, where like if you're making something better, you know what I mean? You can beat the thing that like that's worse. Like you can be, you know, because if you look at this, AEW essentially put NXT out, right?
Right.
Like it's not that NXT was a failure because they had a great like 5 years. It just within the at the end of the day, they're the MySpace, and then AEW is Facebook. You know what I
Well,
mean?
AEW and NXT were fighting over the same 3 million people, right?
Right, and Tony
Ish.
Khan had the freedom to do. Right, yeah.
And so yeah, but like, and so that's, and however many, I don't know, how many people watch Raw? 3 million ish.
No,
2,
less. I mean, Raws are getting like
less than a million.
no, they're getting like 1.5s. You know what I
Okay.
mean? 1.5.
Right. So there's then maybe, so let's say that there is like 3 million people total who watch WWE. There's and then 500,000 of them also watch AEW, and the portion of those who watch NXT were watching AEW instead. And so, like, is that a failure? I don't know. It's just AEW is undeniable right now. They have what is exciting
Right.
in wrestling, and they know, or at least appear to know, like how to deliver and give us what we want to see. You know, like just the way that all of these debuts have been handled, and the way that like Malachi Black is able to do his thing, and you know, that Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega, it's just everything that's exciting is there, and it's made me remember that. Like I remember watching, like I would do the old, like I would watch I would watch Nitro, and I would flip back and forth between Raw and Nitro. I seem to remember watching a lot of Nitro because when there are other things going on besides WWE,
Yeah.
it kind of exposes WWE, and they have to just buy it out to like erase it.
Well, yeah, and it's not even like a new thing that like AEW exists in the negative space and reviews of WWE. Like,
Right.
this is a direct response from a billionaire Mark to be like, we deserve a better wrestling product. It's
Right.
been very bad for a very fucking long time. And we love wrestling so much, and we love these talents so much, and we love those like moments of light that we have been put up with a lot of shit for a long time. And now when you see AEW, it's hard to imagine that we're going to put up with it. Like, people are, you know, it's hard to imagine. I know some people will, but it's hard to imagine that like the people I know, which is a smarky audience, you know, let's say, or whatever, like like a hardcore, almost, you know, a serious fan, an adult fan,
An adult wrestling fan.
You're not going to put up with like a hodgepodge pay-per-views anymore that are booked like shit, you know, because you care, your time is valuable.
Right.
And you know right now you're watching Dynamite and you're watching Rampage every week. So there's 3 hours of wrestling that you're going to watch. Any other hours you got besides that are going to be dictated by making it must watch, you know?
Right.
Here's the Alistair song. By the way, this is the Malachi song. Which, by the way, is also just a song.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Amen Ra.
Yeah, it's Amen Ra, which is like that. What's that? That German band he likes? They're like doom
They're
metal.
not German. They're Dutch.
Dutch doom metal. Is that what
Atmospheric doom metal. Yeah.
What? Anyway. So, yeah, sorry, got a text here. But about wrestling. So I was looking at it.
Okay.
But here's the deal. So, yeah, I mean, like, so whatever. What are you going to say about WWE? Like, is anyone going to, like, Raw? What? Why? I mean, they need such a fucking revamp of WWE right now.
Yes.
They have some great talent, but man, it's really just about. I'm almost thinking about this. Like, why even bother if you're WWE right now? Like, let AEW have their moment right now, and then like let the hype die down. You can't compete with you can't compete with the excitement of AEW right now.
Right.
Because it's like, even if the AEW does stuff that's like bad right now, people are like, it's fine. Like, you know, right? Like that's the point
Right.
people are trying to make. It's like when AEW does this, it's bad, but when WWE does it, it's good. Or vice versa. But
Right.
you're like, yeah, but that's just because like right now people are behind this company and they're giving it the benefit of the doubt. That's also not a bad thing.
Right.
That's goodwill, right? Like that's WWE has lost a lot of trust with the fan. So so they're at their wits' end. It's like any relationship or whatever. You know what I mean? Like when you break up in a relationship, normally you argued over like a fucking banana, right? The last straw is like one of the stupidest arguments you ever had, always, right?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, your arguments at WWE are like, I've had enough. So don't go like, oh, everyone's such a hypocrite. And that's the tribalism of wrestling. So that's like so ridiculous because all right, so like, I posted this clip. I talked about this on the other app, but I posted this Daniel Bryan quote that was, I don't have it here, but essentially the quote was him being like, hey, to all my WWE fans, I hope you'll come over and watch me in AEW, but if you're not, you've given me so much already that like I respect that decision and like thank you so much.
Right.
And I was like, yo, can we cut this shit out? It's like that's such like fake humility that like,
oh really? It came across as genuine to me.
It is genuine.
Yeah.
It is genuine because he's saying it because he's like, and it's a classy thing to say. And everyone gave me such beef for it. But I was like, but when you go down to the base of it, you're like, oh, how, and I might be wrong. Are there really like WWE fans who are like, I'm not watching AEW. Like, fuck AEW.
Yes.
How many, though? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, how many? Like, when I was a kid, I was like, fuck WCW. And keep in mind, I still watched it.
Right.
Not as much, but I was like, yo, I'm a WWF guy. It
I
doesn't feel like
never
that
identified.
is happening.
I never identified with either. I watched them both openly.
Right. But I feel like then it was more like this was called a Monday Night War. The programs were back to back. It was just part of the fun of wrestling was watching those things back to back. Now what I'm saying to you is like, and also I've also made the point on the other episode. I made the point that was like, part of the fun is like, if you're like, I'm AEW and fuck WWE, I'm like, well, that's also part of wrestling. It's the same thing as like choosing a wrestler you like. That's part of the fun is like choosing a team if that's what you want to do. It's not my style per se, but I understand why people do it.
Right.
You know.
Right. But also consider this, right? Like what Daniel Bryan is talking about is literally what I am completely on his dick, but Malachi Black,
right?
Like I said before he debuted, I was like, if he debuts in AEW, I'm exclusively watching AEW. Right. I did what Daniel Bryan is referring to, but for Malachi Black. Like I was like, okay, I'm now watching this thing because my favorite wrestler is there. And I think that like this is kind of a different point, but like that sort of plea to his fans, I think is a valid one. And I think he probably does have a lot of fans that are going to just now watch AEW.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, I'm not even saying that I'm right. I'm just like, I guess I'm so naive. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what my point is. Just like, hey, I can't imagine being like, I'm not watching AEW.
Right.
But I do think people are watching AEW and saying fuck you to WWE because they're like, hey, your show's just so bad. And people are mad. People are mad at Vince, right, for delivering such a sloppy product. And I think also, they just have such bad goodwill at this point. I don't even know exactly what my point is here. It's just that it's all kind of irrelevant. It's like I don't need to spend any time hating on WWE. We watched the pay-per-view tonight. I love hanging out with wrestling fans. It's all good.
Right.
But shit, like, it is odd how little WWE is responding to what's going on over there. Like, they're not getting, AEW's not getting half of their viewership. They're getting, like, the same. You know what I mean?
Right. But also, like, it's even more odd considering the fact that there is something to respond to is in part thanks to WWE cutting wrestlers that they couldn't figure out.
Well, I'll never get how you let a guy like Aleister Black go. I mean, we can talk about it over and over. Bray Wyatt, how you let Bray Wyatt go? Like, I mean,
budget cuts,
right, or whatever. So I don't know. Unless they're gearing up to sell WWE and they want to make it like lighter and cheaper.
That's what I think it is.
Whatever, but like, I don't even think the roster is like. I think they have so much. I just don't think that's where you cut money from talent. Like,
no.
I mean, you can, but I think they have. I don't know what their books look like, but I think they have enough money to like. If you remember when AEW was debuting, okay,
right?
Weren't they signing a ton of wrestlers? Remember?
Yes.
So wouldn't that still be the strategy? Is to like lock these guys into contracts? Instead, what Vince chose to do was, I mean, gut NXT, right?
Right.
It got NXT and let go all the wrestlers that are perfect for the competitor.
Right.
Right. Like letting a guy like Braun Strowman go is almost kind of fine because he's a WWE style talent. You know?
He's a very athletic, very talented giant man.
Right. But you're like, when you let someone like Aleister Black go and Andrade, who I guess was just asking to go at this point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's this odd feeling that like they're doing everything they can to keep Charlotte. They keep like giving her the title. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's like this weird funk over there that like the only people that feel like they want to be there are like Edge, Rollins, Roman, and Becky.
I mean, I would say maybe just Edge and Rollins as the most.
Becky?
As I think that it's so
Becky's
obvious.
as, like WWE, like I think that's like that household.
No,
but
like, I mean, I don't disagree, but I think Edge and Rollins are so happy being at WWE that there's a big drop off after them to the next two.
Right. But regardless of it, we'll see how it goes. WWE's WWE. They're making money hand over fist, with like they're going to Saudi. I mean, they're getting so much money over there. You know what I mean? We'll probably see like an Undertaker match also.
Is that thanks to Trump that people call Saudi Arabia just Saudi?
I don't know. I think I just don't want to talk
going
about
to Saudi.
Yeah. That being said, AEW, what an absolute blast of a show. What an absolute blast of a product. I talked deeply about the Grand Slam on the bonus episode. I was there, boots on the fucking ground. And I'm just pumped for Dynamite this week. I got to see CM Punk wrestlers in trunks for the first time in 7 years live in front of me. I watched the CM Punk promo,
Yeah.
I couldn't even believe what I was like. I've been saying that my big line is that my life is a simulation now, like, which you know about. But I've had so many changes in my life since this pandemic and the pandemic itself. You know what I mean? That literally getting COVID, and then I'm just like in an arena. I'm watching Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega. I'm watching it, and it's packed, and it's like. The quality of the show, it's like a real production, you know what I mean? It's not like in a gymnasium,
And it doesn't hurt that the Smarks, which is 100% of AEW's audience, are willing to play. This is something I've talked about on the pod a long time ago.
Right.
But is it the question of, does the audience have a responsibility as part of the television show to respond the way that the story dictates, right?
Well, you talking about the Cody Malachi match?
Or anything. I mean, I'm talking more about Kenny Omega versus Danielson, right? Where on fire. The crowd is on, everyone's on their feet the entire time. They're there making it look intense and exciting because it is, right?
Right.
But and thinking about WWE, if the crowd just all decided that they're going to stand up and fucking go nuts the whole time, the show would feel different. The WWE. And so AEW does benefit a lot from a crowd of smarks who are smart enough to know like what's good and to also know that they should be popping off.
You know, that is a great point because it plays into what I've always said about wrestling. When people ask me why I like it, my first response is like, I don't care to explain this to you. But
Right.
if you seem genuinely interested, I'll explain it to you. You know,
Right.
But, God, I taped some video when we were there, and when we were at AEW, and I literally like, it's probably during the Kenny Daniel Bryan match, and I literally say into the camera like, I can't believe people watch real sports. Like, it's kind of genuine. But anyway, you're part of it. So yeah,
Right.
you're right. Like, however first off, that many people can't be manipulated into
Right.
being inauthentic, right?
Right.
Everyone is if you can feel a uniform reaction or response from a crowd of 20,000 people, that means that everyone's feeling it enough
Right.
where it's bubbled to the surface, right? We've all been in crowds where like someone's trying to get like waves are going in different directions, and like someone's trying to start a chant, and then there's a different chant across, and they fizzle
Right.
and nothing happens, right?
Right.
We've all seen that. So I think you can, as a regardless if you're getting the response you expect, if you're getting a uniform response, I think that's bigger.
Right.
You know what I mean? If that makes
Right.
sense.
Yes.
And so if you're getting that, even if it's the wrong response, I think you're doing wrestling right.
Right.
Except for, no, I guess there's always like, you know, it's always like you say like, hey, like, all heat's good heat. And then someone will be like, except for like being a racist or something, right?
Right.
You know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like, so there's going to be exceptions there, which is like, hey, the crowd just starts booing and walks out of the building. You're like, that might actually be like, right? And like
That's a
that
bad,
might-
yeah.
You might have done something like that was like actually disgusted them to a point where you took them out of the entertainment or whatever.
Right.
So
They're
you know
not
what I
willing
mean?
to still participate as the audience, the cast, the role of audience.
Well, and that's
you know?
how I felt about this Roman finish.
Right.
Like, I'm like, there's no, I guess you're talking about it, but it's not good heat. It's like WWE's, I finally popped in for a WWE pay-per-view, and they're doing up to their old tricks. It's like, you're back with your old fucking boyfriend, and he's still fucking just on the computer all night. You know what I mean? It's like, not licking your feet, you know, like he said he would. You know?
I'm gonna
That
go.
was
I'm
a
gonna go out,
personal example for me.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the guy who's on the computer every night is definitely way into licking feet.
Licking feet, yeah. No, the problem is not that he won't lick feet. He won't get off the computer and lick feet.
Okay.
He wants
He's
the feet and the computer.
At the computer at the same time.
Yes. But so, you know what I'm saying? So let's talk about this Cody Malachi thing, because it was like my thing. You're a huge Malachi mark. I am a huge fan of Alistair. Deeply one of my guys, right?
Yeah.
I think it's like what he's doing is always a little unclear. Like, I wish it was like a little bit clearer.
Mm-hmm.
But you could probably argue that it's just right, and I probably could buy it, you know? But I could use more promo from him, like more mic time, more like story time with Alistair shit. That
You
like,
need to
actually
watch.
is good.
You need to watch that. I think I sent it to you.
Oh, was it the road to Grand Slam?
No, it was the road to Malachi Black, basically. Like it was.
Oh, I thought I sent that to you.
No, the guy who like broke down like how.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Oh yeah, there's a guy like on YouTube or whatever, and
I'm gonna watch that right now. You guys are just gonna sit in silence for a while.
That's fine.
No, I'll watch it
Malachi Black references it in another podcast and said that the guy got like 80% of it dead on, where he talks about the evolution of the character from like Tommy End to Aleister Black to Malachi Black, because it's all been intentional on Thomas Budgeon's part.
Right.
And so I guess.
And let me tell you, he ain't budging.
Right. He might feel
This
that
is my
like,
vision, and let me tell you, I ain't budging. No.
By the way, he said that was never supposed to be him coming out of a crypt, like a coffin. It was supposed to be him materializing like out of the void. but he probably feels
but then
like
why did it go?
because of Vince.
Yeah.
Because of Vince. So like he probably doesn't want to like over explain it because he has been so like consistently trying to build this sort of lore in his own head and just like be it. But yeah, he probably
Just
could
be it.
Right.
I'm annoying myself here. You know what I mean? I told you that pay-per-view made me completely unfunny today.
And this is coming from a guy. This is coming from a guy who in Las Vegas in a cab started playing music from his phone.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't music on in the cab, and so we were all
also because I was drunk
trying to talk, and you were bored. And
oh
you were
my
like, there's
God,
no music.
Newman, you're telling the story all wrong. No.
Let me take you, Alistair, back.
Let me take you, Alistair, back. I don't like your attitude. Oh man. So the point is that I will say this about Aleister Black. One thing he needs to recognize is that he is a babyface.
Yes.
I straight up like, dude, sorry. You can be as evil as you want. Unless you're wrestling Daniel Bryan, someone like the highest level of baby, Max Baby, right?
Max Baby.
Max Baby. Max Baby.
The name's Max Baby. Max Baby is a great name for a babyface wrestler.
Max Baby.
Max Baby.
Yeah, I'm the Max. Listen, I'm the Max.
Because I'm baby to the max.
The baby to the max. No.
We're both delirious.
We're so tired. We're crawling in the dark looking for answers, folks. But so I actually think people were like, oh, they're booing Cody in that match. People were like, oh, they're booing because they hate Cody. And I think that is definitely true. That's a high percentage of it. But I also want to talk about that, like, the other sliver, the other 20%, let's say, is just the fact that, like, dude, no matter how evil you act, you will be over as a babyface at Malachi.
Right.
And that's okay. He could be like a heel baby.
It's Stone Cold territory, if we're being honest.
Right. Could you, like, who is he gonna beat up where people are gonna be like, this guy's so evil? We've been waiting for this guy to, like, be awesome for so fucking long.
That's the thing, is because he is trying to do, like, because he has said this, that like he's like an arrogant sort of like evil guy, but he's so cool and good that no one gives a shit how arrogant he is, because it doesn't come across as arrogant. It's like, yes, you are this badass. What are you talking about?
Right.
Like, of course you're arrogant.
Yeah, I think he should cut out trying to be. I think he's just embraced the baby. But
embrace the baby.
But Cody,
I want to embrace the baby.
I think Cody. You know how I feel about that joke. No. I think that Cody. We'll see how Cody reacts on Wednesday. I'm pretty excited to see how does he react to the way he got treated. Like, it was overwhelmingly, but I can't think of a time that I was at a wrestling match, and where I saw the complete opposite reaction happen to such a max degree. It was like a complete, like, you were trying to be a baby face, but you were actually a heel. You were trying to be heel, and you were actually baby. It was like a reversal of a 100%.
180 degrees. Yeah.
A 180 degree. And so that. I also am willing to say that Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega, I was thinking about it. Well, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega. I was thinking about it on the other pod, and I was thinking about it. I was like, is it the best match I ever saw in person? And then I'm willing to say yes now.
Nice.
I'm going to say that it was my favorite wrestling match I've ever seen live. I think the only match that I would put on the same level is the Seth Rollins cash-in at 31.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that is also my favorite match in the same way. Not but like completely different matches and completely different styles of matches, you know?
Well, it's also, too, it's like that's the most WWE thing ever.
Yeah.
And then you have this sort of like very like technically proficient but story like driven wrestling that's kind of typical of like that Japanese AEW indie.
Yeah, there's
vibe.
room for both of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like those are just two completely different, equally important aspects of professional wrestling. The hijinks, the theatrics, the scripted elements of it, the
Right.
swerve element of it. You know what I mean? That, and then also just like here's some great hard hitting work rate shit. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well, it's
And-
like most things, right? It's most things. It's you have these two kind of opposites that seem to contradict one another, and the real stuff actually lies in the invisible area between that's only made up of, you know, their relative differences.
That was no.
You can't just no stuff.
No, that was too smart for me. I'm too tired for that. That was too smart. That was too analytical for me.
Okay.
Man, that fucking pay-per-view drained me, by the way.
Brain drain.
Brain
drain.
Anyway, great time though. I mean, it was a great time watching with everybody. But yeah, like, yeah, and like, it's. I think about all the stats of why that match. It's just like the fact that that match even existed. That I was there live in a brand new stadium. It was in New York City. You know, like a brand new wrestling venue. And it was just a match I never thought I would ever see, and it just blew my mind. I also called the finish that it would go to time. I like that. It was a bummer because you were like, I was like, oh, they're kicking off the show because they're gonna go at it again in the main.
Oh,
I was like, oh my god, but I was like, then I realized like, no chance. Like they just want this to keep going, but I can't wait to see Kenny on Wednesday. Just talk about why he'll never give a rematch to Bryan Danielson, right?
right.
It was a fucking honor to buy the Brian the American Dragon is back T-shirt at his first match back. Like that is like perfect merch buying experience. Really, 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 just I just can't believe how shitty WWE can be when it's like, yo, guys, look what's happening. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's an actual wrestling revolution happening, and you guys are literally still fucking, like, you're not like training, right? You're like,
trying
yeah,
to get
you're
Bobby
still
Lashley
drinking
over.
ale. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh man, Bobby Lashley. That being said, Bobby Lashley. I mean, he is such a specimen that I'll never care about. Like, there's just room for a guy like Bobby Lashley.
Of course,
he put in
always.
the time. He's clearly a passionate guy. He's just not very talented when of a performer. So it's hard to be engaging, you know?
Right. But yeah, he sure is a.
What
he's
does
not
Becky
normal.
need to do to get her shit together? And that sounds harsh because Becky's still like there, but people should care more about Becky than they do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I said this not too long ago, but I don't think she. I think that that moment where she got her nose broken, she peaked.
Right.
And then ever since then, it's been trying to sort of like ride on the coattails of that moment to varying degrees of success. I love Becky Lynch. She's one of my guys. But it's like, it's that you can't, the man thing, like that, the energy from that moment, it has dissipated.
Right.
And she hasn't done much to kind of like, I mean, also granted, she just had she was away having a baby. So I would never hold that against her. Like, being away, right, didn't help either. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think that there's something, I don't know what it is, but she's missing.
She'll get it back. She just needs a better feud because this is the thing. I actually kind of blame Bianca if you like, which sounds shitty, but I just think Bianca is just she's so not there as a like in that same way her and Rhea Ripley like just fail to connect with a crowd. Like, you know, I mean, fail to connect with the crowd.
No, I don't know. I don't know
that
that's
true. The crowd
true.
is wrong. They connect with the crowd. The crowd responds to them and blah, blah, blah. But they fail to make the shit they're doing feel – I'm not, like, invested in their feuds ever, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They fail to make their feuds feel, like, big or important. But I guess Sasha – I will care about Sasha Bianca, right? So that's maybe what it is. It's like Becky and Bianca, they feel like they – like, who would care about that feud? Like, I guess also because Becky just came in and just squashed her. You know what I mean? That was kind of what it is. I guess I'm not blaming Bianca. I don't know. My thing with Bianca is I thought she should have lost at Mania, right? Because now her and Rhea Ripley are both in that same spot of like now you guys are like, you won titles at Mania. Like that's a big fucking deal, you know? But ultimately, they don't have as much to climb to anymore. And so they lose their underdog status. They lose that. So I think the timing wasn't particularly beneficial to them ultimately when you start getting into this zone, you know, where it's like, I don't know. It would be nice to still feel like, yo, I like Bianca. I can't wait till she has her big moment. That would be a really, really nice tool for her to have, you know?
Right.
But instead, she's already at the top of the heap. And as a performer, as a mic skill, and even as a gimmick, it's not really there. In the same way where Rhea Ripley is not really there, but at least what they both have, and it might eventually be enough, is like Bianca is the most athletic. She's a great wrestler. And Rhea Ripley is fucking huge. Like, she just is massive. Like, just could be believably should beat the shit out of people. You know?
Right.
Did Rhea Ripley, who did she beat for the title at that Mania?
Charlotte?
Was it Charlotte, though? I don't think it was. Asuka. She still has never beat Charlotte.
She was ready for Asuka.
She was, Asuka's birthday today. She's 40. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Good for her.
Surprising, right?
Yeah.
It's surprising that her age was never really mentioned. Like, she was 40, and not that 40's old, especially now with the way fitness
I'll be
is now.
40 in 4 years.
As I'm saying, like 40 now is like with fitness and shit. Like Ziggler's 40. You know what I mean? Like
40
like
is 30.
Beast. Yeah. I said it to my mom. I was like, 40 is like the new 30, and she was like, absolutely now. She's like, the way you 40-year-olds are now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the way they look, take care of themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
And society lets 40-year-olds not have 20-year-old kids already. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, Asuka, great. I guess I'm coming down hard on them. Becky will find it. She's a little bit. That coming back's always like really fucking tough. But I think actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, is like the bigger culprit is just the tides of wrestling, the status of wrestling, where it's like they're in the not cool company. You know what I mean?
Right. But I also think that much like Malachi Black, Becky needs to understand that she is a Max baby as well. And this whole the man, like, I think maybe that's what feels off to me. Like,
yeah, that is true. She is going like not like, oh, I just have a bad attitude heel. She's going like fuck the crowd heel.
Like, yeah, like Conor McGregor like kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, that I think is what has always felt off to me. Like, she got her nose broken, she was badass, and then it was like but it made her evil for no reason. You remember she just turned whatever. But she like. You remember that? Like, she was like, she turned on the crowd when she came back for no reason. So I think that is what has always felt weird to me, and why she hasn't ever really been able to like reconnect or keep that flame going.
Right. I think also just a huge thing is the fact that there's Sheffield. I think is a huge fact is just the fact that like AEW is so cool right now. Like, it's pretty hard to like come back in. Like, you know, it's pretty hard to come back in and then. You're like Britt Baker is the new Becky Lynch, really. You know what I mean? And she's the one breaking her face and bleeding. You know, it literally is like, you know. So it is what it is. It's going to be really interesting what happens going forward, because it's like, if I told you I had free tickets to Raw next week, you might say, I don't want to go, because you're like, do I want to be tired for work?
I want to go downtown.
And you might. You might go, but not be excited. You know what I mean?
Right. I would not risk COVID for WWE.
Right.
Would not.
Anyway, what was the last thing I wanted?
Much like Roman Reigns would also not risk.
So Roman Reigns puts on a mask. That's the last thing we'll talk about. He puts on a mask mid-match when they're going into the crowd.
Yeah.
Super weird. But at the same time, like, I was like, also like, oh, that's like a good example, But it's just kind of odd because it's not like they both put on masks. It's like just Roman put on a mask because he's, I guess, because he's immunocompromised. Really?
I think.
But like,
so.
is it like? I don't know how COVID works exactly, but like, is him getting closer to the crowd like that puts him way more at risk? Because
well, there's more. There
More
would be
air?
theoretically more of a viral load
like,
there.
are you protected because you're in the middle of the ring with no walls? It's like I feel like you're kind of just fucked.
I mean,
anyway.
I'm obviously not a doctor.
No,
never
I'm saying
claimed
I
to be.
have no idea how any of this works.
But my understanding of it would be that like they are far enough away from everybody that everyone else's breaths and their droplets and their whatevers, right, are kind of not able to reach the ring, maybe. And by going into the crowd, you're then potentially closer to this like dense pocket of air where there could possibly be COVID. And so you wear a mask because the viral load in that area would be big enough to infect somebody. I love that Pat McAfee sold it that as though Roman didn't want to breathe the same air as the scumbags in the WWE universe.
Yeah, he doesn't want to breathe the same air. But here's the other thing. I thought that masks, God, isn't it so funny how, not funny, isn't it scary how little we still know? Like, I thought masks mainly protect other people over yourself.
Right, which is why it's important for everyone to wear one.
Right. So if Roman puts one on, is that actually helping him that much?
No, but it's his like, it's better than not wearing one.
Right.
Like if you, it's like, I always think of like, it's like an RPG. If you found a piece of gear
Right.
that said 30% resistance to poison, you would equip it. So if the mask is going to give you that level of resistance,
Right.
you equip it. Like, why wouldn't you?
So the thing with the mask, I think they did it really well, and I'm not going to give Roman any shit for feeling comfortable putting on a mask. It's not going to happen on this podcast. You know what I mean? But
Right.
what I'll say is that the mask actually looked pretty badass on him. At least they chose one where he looked like Sub-Zero style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He put on like a little
Also-
surgical mask, you know?
Also, Roman Reigns was able to wrestle Finn Balor and keep his mask on above his nose. Huh. What is it about like a Walgreens that makes it harder to keep your mask on than an actual wrestling match with a demon?
I'll tell you what, I'm working out in the masks, and I think they make my face a little irritated.
Oh yeah,
Now-
mask knee.
It's fucking blows. And also, like, I think also, like, I'll take it off, and then I got, like, a little eye infection, too. And I think it's because, like, the
Sweat.
mask is, like, holding dirt and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's one thing I fucking hate about the mask, and I use a new, fresh mask every single day, like a surgical
Oh yeah,
mask,
you have to.
like, every time I work out, you know?
Yeah, they only last like
Right.
several hours.
But that being said, I still rock it, and that's the fucking deal. It is what it is. I get
Right.
fucking mask knee and whatever, but at least I'm jacked up. All right, let's get out of here, bro.
Yeah, let's roll.
So we'll record again after Dynamite. We'll record on Thursday, so we'll have watched Dynamite for the bonus episode this week on patreon.com/comedians wrestling. We're back here doing the apps. Thank you guys for your patience again while we were shifting stuff around. We'll have Phil back next week, so we'll get the proper edit of stuff yeah, that's it. Subscribe to our YouTube page, Comedians Wrestling YouTube page. Go there right now. It's free to do that. And also, we'll have a live show in New York City November 20th weekend for Survivor Series. So,
That's right.
all right. Hey, everybody, keep watching wrestling. Kisses. Cheers up.